This video on Quant Network has to undoubtedly be the most important one you're going to watch from me ever, let alone anyone else, okay guys? So now I want to stress this right now because you're going to want to watch this the whole way through. Where I'm leading this conversation is massive, guys. The writing is on the walls, and I think everyone's announcing the big news with Quant Network right now, but no one's actually talking about what this means. And as I was creating this video, I begun to realize more and more, and so I want to share that with you today. Again, guys, this is the most important quant video you might actually watch, not just because of the news announcement, but because of what this actually means. Again, the writing's on the wall. So let me break it down for you and actually discover if the actual current situation is good or bad for the price. So let me explain kind of what the news actually is first, and that's sort of this. So 𝗡cie𝗿𝗱𝗩𝗣𝗡, the CEO and founder of Quant Network, published this a day or so ago, right? And he pretty much said in this tweet that they launched the Overledger platform officially, which makes it the same enterprise-grade technology that has underpinned our projects with institutional and central bank customers to date, accessible to large enterprises, small to medium enterprises, and developers for the first time. This is our way of encouraging mass adoption of a technology that I believe will prove transformational not just for the financial sector, but for the world's economy. Now, this is a pretty much equivalent to a mainnet, right? A blockchain's mainnet, but on steroids. Now, again, this is what everyone's reporting, and I brought you guys this news a few days ago now because this video that was actually come from the news was leaked, right? So we knew this was coming, but essentially, right, as I was making this video, I actually realized why this came out when it did and the gravity of the situation. So again, let me kind of elaborate to this. So what does this mean for the price? Well, again, let's figure it out. Is it really good or bad? Well, obviously, it's super bullish. It's definitely good, okay? So we need to figure out how bullish this is. And let me tell you, this is massive. And I know I say this quite a lot, and I had someone in my comment section a few weeks ago say, we hear from everyone, this is massive news, but this truly is, guys. And again, let me break it down for you. So before this news, before we had Project Rosalind, pretty much before we had the news that they're working with the 𝗡cie essentially and that the Overledger platform is now officially released to the public, right? Most of the community assumed that Quant was already offering its software throughout the private sector. Now, the private sector is the general economy, right? So you have any institutions, businesses, things like that, okay? But this wasn't true. Most of the capabilities were not available. Now, with the success of Project Rosalind, Quant and obviously the project counterparties are confident that they're ready to bring this into the full private sector use. But very strange timing, and again, this is some pretty important stuff to talk about here. Let me explain to you on this page. You'll pretty much know where I'm coming from, okay? So why do I think the news of the Overledger has come now? Keep in mind, this is about a week or two after the news that the Quant Network is officially working with the Bank of International Settlements, aka the central bank of all central banks, okay? It has 63 other central banks that it communicates with and is the intermediary of, doing things like transfers of all sorts. So this came out when Gilbert actually announced that they were working with the 𝗡cie officially on his Twitter, okay? So this came out again June 16th, so about 10 or so days ago at this point. The project has produced tangible, real-world examples that tested how CBDCs could support a more digitized economy in future. Working with participants, this is important, like the Bank of Canada, Barclays, MasterCard, and Amazon, who built and tested new CBDC payment flows on the platform. The platform obviously being Overledger, okay? So essentially, Project Rosalind was the integration between the Bank of England, so England's pretty much central bank, and how they could implement a retail CBDC, or essentially just a CBDC, in the private sector, okay? And obviously, Quant was now officially used as that sort of protocol being, collecting the data from the economy, essentially, right? And the economy in this case was between Barclays, MasterCard, and Amazon. Obviously, they used different sections, right? Obviously, Barclays being a major bank, MasterCard being a payments platform, and Amazon pretty much filling the needs of that sort of economy, essentially, if you will, and the Bank of Canada obviously testing that sort of bank-to-bank transfers. So yeah, they pretty much picked the right sort of people for this, just to make sure that Quant was able to handle that sort of workflow and this whole CBDC thing could actually come into fruition. And this is important. That's why I've highlighted it red. What Gilbert says next leads me into my conclusion here. CBDCs are coming. I encourage every bank and financial institution to read the Project Rosalind report and start planning their smart money infrastructure strategy. Start planning your infrastructure strategy. Interesting that we have the Overledger being fully rolled out no more than 10 days, 11 days after we had this announcement. Okay, so now this was actually taken, so obviously Gilbert, as you saw in the previous tweet, announced the Overledger actually being officially released. And so this is actually the official link on the blog of Quant Network in the same sort of manner, okay? So we are proud to unveil the Overledger platform, the infrastructure used in Project Rosalind, the Bank of England and Bank of International Settlements retail CBDC project, available to all via software as a service, accessible to large enterprises, SMEs, and developers for the first time. So my thinking is, hang on, they've come out and Project Rosalind was obviously a success. Quant was officially successful at making this sort of thing happen, okay? So then, Gilbert comes out and says, hey guys, I think as a private sector, you all need to be focusing on this because CBDCs are coming. So obviously successful news, and he's incentivizing people to want to do that, okay? So I think the project's counterparties, in this case, the ones mentioned over here, right? Barclays, MasterCard, Amazon, the Bank of England, and the Bank of Canada have verified Quant's usefulness, okay, and have given Quant the green light to offer it to the economy. Now, it appears they want the private sector using Quant well before the rollout of CBDCs. So this makes total sense. A successful testing environment, Quant has been used. What do they do next? Well, they say, hey, when we want to bring our CBDCs out, we want to make sure that they can be instantly adopted into the economy. They don't want to just bring a CBDC out and say, hey guys, we're bringing a CBDC out. How are we now going to make sure that everyone in the economy is going to be able to absorb or pretty much send all of their information back into the central bank's ledger? Well, wouldn't it make so much sense if Quant partnered with them, one of their major partners, UST, which is a pretty much a business development company moving Web 2 businesses into the Web 3 space, or essentially the digital world, right? Wouldn't it make sense if 60, 70, 80% of the economy was already using Quant in some capacity, or it was already trial tested through and through, that it would be like, okay guys, you got to use Quant, or you got to have an API, and we'll just use this service that you don't have to actually publicly announce it's Quant, and we'll just connect you straight up to our ledger, right? It makes total sense to me, and this was this sort of aha moment I had, like, wow, this stuff is the writing on the walls. People might say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, it was just good timing, but I don't think so, guys. We can only say that so many times, right? So after the news, we saw before the news, now what's actually happened now? What's the current state? Well, Quant has now officially been released to the entire public, or private sector rather. Licensing fees, platform/dev user consumption fees, and map creation and more will drive demand now. So officially, we talk about all the time, token absorption this and token absorption that, but we never really see true demand. Well, now we will see true demand because the Quant token is used in every single aspect of the network, and therefore, guys, all of these sort of different aspects of why Quant is needed, or QNT token is needed in the network, it's going to start to drive demand, okay? Now, the BIS obviously wants Quant in the public's hands ASAP, preparing for a CBDC rollout by 2030, at least in the UK economy, making a CBDC instantly effective. Again, they don't want to just say, hey, we're doing a CBDC, and how are we going to somehow get all the transactions from your network back into us, and then have to figure out a way to do that for even small and legacy networks or businesses. It doesn't make sense. So this is integral to their success right now. And now this is to summarize. So if you've been kind of lost, this page, I know, full of text. I hate doing this on the slides, but it's really, really important you actually get this in your head because, guys, honestly, I really do think Quant is going to be massive come 2030. I'm definitely going to be looking at holding a larger portion after 2025's bull market because I just don't think we'll ever get anywhere near $100 after that again, okay? So to summarize, the powers that be are happy with Quant's effectiveness in the private sector, aka the economy, and the public sector or the government side of things, and everything in between, okay, with the tests of Project Rosalind, right? Because it gave Quant essentially the green light to open the tech up to everyone so that CBDCs can be instantly integrated into the economy. Now, again, we talk about token absorption as a key factor in price appreciation, but now, for one of the first times in a real cryptocurrencies situation, the open market, meaning the entire world, will now decide its true value, okay? And that's essentially what's happened. Blockchain technology is quite nuanced. It's quite new. But something like this, all right, it is kind of new, of course, but it makes total sense to use, especially on the other end of it when you can be a small to medium enterprise and say, well, we can possibly look to connect straight to, a private network like Corda, Quorum, Hyperledger Fabric, right? Or who knows, Amazon could be building on the damn thing right now or using the damn thing. We don't know, okay? That's the whole part of the white label service. So guys, look, I implore you, please, listen to what I've said today. This ain't no joke anymore. We've heard the good news of Project Rosalind. We've heard the Overledger is now out and available, but connect the damn dots. This is some serious stuff, all right? And so, of course, I talk about Quant quite a bit, and obviously, understandably, recently I've spoken quite a bit about it, essentially just simply because there's been so much good news. It's been the best news all year. So of course I'm going to make many videos on the network, and besides I love it anyway. So this is kind of to summarize it all. You know, I think if I make a quant video between now and any time soon in the next few months, regarding something relating to its news, it's going to be big. So you're going to want to pay attention. Ultimately, it would do me and you and everyone a really big favor if you could kindly share this with one of your friends today, because everyone needs to know about this. I think it's a bit of an injustice that, look, the writing's on the walls. A lot of us don't have the time to research this sort of thing. And so hopefully, yeah, you can also support me in that sense as well. Okay, guys, thank you so much again. If you want to learn more about Quant, please watch this video here. I'll make sure that video is strictly a video that has come out recently, right? From news like Project Rosalind or from the Overledger news itself. And also, if you want to see 10 Quant versus 20,000 𝗡𝗍, which would I prefer to buy, then click the video over here. Now, with that said, everyone, thank you again so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye.